This tiny kitten wouldn't stop crying at the shelter until a massive dog did something unexpected. Volunteers placed the kitten's cage next to Bruno, a giant German shepherd nobody wanted. The moment the kitten saw Bruno, the crying stopped. The volunteer opened the cage, and the kitten immediately curled up against Bruno's chest, purring. From that day on, they were inseparable. Families tried to adopt the kitten, but he would run back to Bruno and hide under his legs. Then a father and his daughter visited the shelter. The little girl said, "Daddy, they're best friends just like us. Can we take them both home?" Now Bruno and Peanut live together in their forever home, and that little girl takes care of both of them. This tiny puppy was rejected by every dog at the shelter until an old blind dog changed everything. The puppy was born with a deformed leg and nobody wanted him. Other dogs would ignore him or walk away. Then they brought him to Max, a 12-year-old blind golden retriever. Max couldn't see the puppy's deformed leg. He just smelled him and immediately laid down so the puppy could climb on top of him. From that moment, they became inseparable. The puppy became Max's eyes, barking to guide him. Families wanted to adopt the cute puppy, but he refused to leave Max. Then an elderly couple visited. The woman said, "My husband is losing his sight. These two understand what it means to need each other." Now Max and the puppy, named Hope, live together helping the elderly couple. A man was ice fishing when the ice cracked beneath him, plunging him into freezing water. As he struggled to climb out, a pack of huskies surrounded the hole, biting his coat and dragging him to safety. But why would wild huskies save a stranger? Months earlier, he'd found one of them injured and buried in a blizzard. He carried it home and wrapped it in blankets to keep it warm. That night, he woke up to howling. A wolf pack surrounded his cabin, closing in. But the husky howled back, calling its pack, and within seconds, a dozen huskies appeared, chasing the wolves into the darkness. The pack never forgot, and when he needed them most, they were there.
This family ignored a stray dog for weeks. One day, their daughter was playing outside when a car came speeding toward her, out of control. The dog bolted across the yard and pulled her back seconds before the car crashed exactly where she stood. The family took the dog to the vet and found a microchip. When they called, a crying woman answered. This was Max, her late husband's service dog. He was a veteran who passed away, and Max escaped during the funeral. He was trained to protect children because her husband always wanted kids. When they returned Max, the widow saw how attached he was to their daughter and said, "Please keep him. My husband would have wanted this." Now Max guards that little girl every night.
This homeless man had only one meal left, and what he did with it changed his entire life. David had been living on the streets for 2 years. One morning, he bought his last sandwich. A skinny, stray dog approached him, shaking from hunger. David looked at his sandwich, then at the dog. He tore it in half and gave the bigger piece to the dog. What David didn't know was that a wealthy businesswoman named Elena was watching from her car. She walked over and asked why he gave away his last meal. David said, "He needed it more than I did." Elena was moved by his kindness. She owned a restaurant chain and offered David a job managing her new location right there. She also took the dog to the vet and told David he could keep him. Within a month, David had an apartment, a job, and his dog Lucky. Now David manages one of the most successful restaurants in the city, and Lucky never leaves his side. Subscribe if you believe kindness always comes back. This man kept ignoring his cat, waking him up at 3 a.m. every night until he realized what was happening. For weeks, his orange tabby Rusty would jump on his chest, meowing and scratching his face. But one night, Rusty wouldn't stop. He scratched harder, meowed louder, even bit his owner's hand. The man finally got up angry, but then he smelled smoke. He found flames coming from the kitchen outlet. The smoke detector batteries were dead. If Rusty hadn't woken him, the family would have died. After firefighters left, Rusty walked to the smoke detector, sat underneath it, and meowed while staring up. Rusty had been trying to warn him for weeks.